Welcome to the Triple Takeover Podcast, a fortnightly podcast. Let's just say all about Transformers. That's what we're here to talk about tonight, and that's what we're going to talk about as well, because that is our want. We do talk about other things at times, don't we, Liam?
There we go. Yeah, don't abandon that tradition.
I was worried there.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes.
Yeah, that pretense.
Other toy lines.
Yeah, other toy lines. Yeah.
Look, someday, right?
It has happened, and it will happen again.
Can we please talk about the Micro Machine City sets?
Yes, that is actually the next Tapman. My plan was to do Micro Machines. So.
Yeah, because Alex was he was sharing those on. He's one of our patrons, and he was sharing those on the Twitters the other week as well, and we both saw that. But I love those little dumper trucks and all that stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about Micro Machines.
Yeah.
Comic collections of 5. Yep, I've had a lot of them. I had like the plane, a lot of the tool kit base.
Did you have the toolkit base? Oh wait.
Yeah, what do Americans call like those buses that are also like American caravans? What are they called? Winnebagos.
Winnebagos,
yeah.
Winnebagos.
There's one of those things. There's like a giant
That's
one.
right.
Supervan City.
Could you store all your micro machines in it? Is that right? It had little slots inside.
No,
was it
you
that
would
one?
open it up and it had like a city inside of it.
It was the playset one.
Yeah. Supervan City.
So cool.
That's what it was called. That's tremendous.
I still have my micro machines as well. So
is this the Micro Machines episode now? Like, is that what we're doing?
There we go.
I mean, it could be. Could just go with it.
Do you remember that time they did Aliens? There we go. There's the episode topic. We had Micro Machines Aliens.
No.
I did not know
What?
they did Micro Machines.
Yeah,
Aliens.
sort of as you go into the 90s, they started to get in like the Micro Machines. You got the, do you remember they did the Star Wars? They started doing
I remember Star Wars.
Like you had the action fleet, but then you had like the little miniature Star Wars things that were like Micro Machines.
Oh, okay. Did not know this.
Didn't know this.
Yeah.
No.
That's so weird.
There was the era when Aliens was going to be a cartoon, so you started getting toys.
Right.
And then there was this like weird phase of alien toys appearing in different like areas. Like,
oh my god, I've just looked it up. There's actually one of like the chest buster coming out of the chest and everything. Is that a thing?
There's all sorts. There was like a Action Fleet dropship playset, which was kind of fun,
God.
but they had to add little ships and little things. There was Micro Machines went crazy as it went.
There's a Predator one as well. What is going on?
As a Micro Machine, Predator.
Yeah, a Predator head that opens into like a playset.
Yes, I did know that.
And
That's
an
right.
alien head. Oh my god.
I do remember those.
This
they were
is
cool.
so wild. This is from the era of toys, particularly in the 90s this happened, where so many like 18 rated films got toy lines marketed to very young children.
It was the
so
cuddly face hugger that appeared quite relatively recently. I think it was in my son's lifetime, actually. But I was like, what parent is going to buy that?
Yeah.
Cuddling a face hugger to sleep. It's like, this is my favorite toy.
I think it's so wild. There was all like Terminator 2 toys and things like this with like, the Terminators that you could take the face off and things like that.
Yeah,
It's like,
it was like a slime pit thing, but like almost like clay. Had quite a few of the Terminator 2 figures. I love that. Nothing to do with the film, really. It was just a toy line branded like, here's the Terminator's car. And you're like, that car isn't in the film? This weird sci-fi car.
Do you know the one that really did it for me, though, that crossed that line and I didn't feel it ever should, was RoboCop. And it did it to such a level. Cartoon, toys, comic, and it made
TV show, terrible TV show.
Cartoon
TV
as well?
show.
There was a cartoon,
There was a cartoon. Ultra Police.
Yeah.
Right.
Ultra Police or Ultra Force? I think it's Ultra Police.
But I agree with you because I saw RoboCop like a lot of kids did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was. And I think I've mentioned this before, but a friend of mine, I would go around to his house and his dad would just let us watch whatever, like literally whatever. So we watched
my cousin
Aliens,
used to do the same, exactly the same.
all of those really, really gory 18 films. We just watched them. I don't know how old we were, but certainly way too young. And we watched RoboCop and it gave me nightmares, surprisringly, because it's the bit where they shoot the guy's hand, Murphy's hand, and all of that. Like, I was like,
but it's body torture.
It. Yeah. I remember watching it, just being like, oh.
Yeah.
So, see, for me, it's 2. I had no problem with 1. It was 2. When I saw 2, I saw a pirate video at my cousin's. And
the eyes.
No, there's something that happens in it, and I try not to think about it, because if I do, it haunts my nightmares. There's one scene in this movie, and nothing even happens, but it's the suggestion of what's about to happen to this police officer, and it cuts away. And I hate thinking about it. It gave me nightmares forever, a long time. Even to this day, it still makes me feel like, oh, no. I try not to think about that movie. I hate that movie anyway. It was a bad.
It was a bad movie.
I remember the eyes bothered you though, didn't it? Wasn't it the guy, the bad
Kane,
guy,
with his
Kane,
eye brain,
with his eye brain thing?
No, it's this. There's a character called Officer Duffy, and he's
where he ends up. You don't.
Yeah, you don't see what happens to him, but it's very heavily implied what's about to happen to him. No.
And do you know that's the worst stuff in film? That it's really psychological. It's like Reservoir Dogs with the ear cutting scene, but you don't see anything. You just hit. So your mind fills in these bits, and it's the worst because what your imagination can do is way more powerful than what you can see on the screen as well, and that disconnect as well. But yeah, RoboCop was the same for me as well, Sixo. It really, really disturbed me.
Yeah.
Although the film that scared me the most when I watched it when I was too young, which is kind of funny now because it is a black comedy, was American Werewolf in London. That one really, but I love that film so much because it's good, good effects.
Yeah, is a good one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So anyway, Partsforming, perfect.
That's
perfect
quite disturbing.
Conversational, transition there, but. Yeah, I mean, we could keep talking about films and micro machines.
It's a whole other podcast, isn't it?
Yeah. A film podcast, a cinema podcast.
We could do that,
I think it's quite
film
well
25,
maybe,
with Liam Norman and Sixo Ross and I don't know,
who's the
Jason,
other guy?
the other Ross, Paul Ross.
Was that a thing?
Filmbox, soapbox.
Yeah,
who was the guy who did the late night one on Channel 4? He was quite cool.
What, Barry Norman?
No, not Barry Norman.
No, that was BBC.
That was BBC, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was on Channel 4, and he was he did the late night, after. Can't remember. Someone will tell us on our Discord, I'm sure. Yeah.
I'm sure people would tune in to hear our opinions on film, wouldn't they? That would be a thing.
Yeah.
I'm quite pretentious with my opinions, thoe, so we have a different kind of vibe.
Wow,
what's
pretentious Jason.
Valid.
Can't imagine it,
Yeah.
I just assumed you're watching it having no idea who the good guys and the bad guys in whatever film you're watching are.
Yeah,
Yeah, Jason got quite confused about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
I do. Why
so
can
the
they not all be
Predator,
good?
he's a friend.
Well, to his Predator friends, he's a friend. Exactly, yeah.
All
Is that
friends.
how Predator society works in the Predator law?
Yeah, that's it. Exactly.
Okay, just as a tangent. So here's the thing I've always wondered about the Predator. So you've seen the film, right?
Yeah.
So you know how the Predator sees, because it shows you, you can only see, heat vision and stuff like that.
Yeah.
How did they make microchips and spaceships and stuff like that? How did they make any kind of technology when all they can see is heat?
It's organic technology. So,
but how do they have any kind of fine motor skills to manipulate stuff and test stuff? How would they even see a computer?
And the thing is, I'm gonna pull you up on it. Only sees the heat and that effect when it has the mask on.
But when it takes the mask off, that's how. No, because that's how Dutch hides from him when he doesn't have the mask on. Is he covers himself in mud so he appears cold, so he can't see him.
He's still got the mask on then in that scene.
Has he?
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
He's come out of the water, hasn't he?
Yeah. Oh, now I need to watch the film again. Oh no, sounds good.
Liam, you're going to get atted, man.
The thing is, Liam, there's a good chance that you will remember this better than I will, right?
I've seen the film 1,000 times, but now you got me thinking. Maybe he does.
Sorry, I do that. See, it's me convincing of my bullshit. That's basically it.
I know, because maybe he does take the helmet off later.
Because he has the different modes that he switches through.
He does. But that's different times. But if he has the different modes, why wouldn't he switch for the different modes when he's covered in goop?
Because I'm pretty sure when he has his mask off, he just sees all red, and that's what it is. And
well, there we go. That's what I mean. That all red stuff. So if all he sees is all red, that's what I mean. How are they developing anything?
Okay, that's true. How did they build spaceships?
Predator vision, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. Let's go and ask the writer.
So anyway, Partsforming. Really interesting Transformers-related topic that we decided we would talk about for tonight. Firstly, it's worth saying, isn't it, that this is a topic that we all thought that would be interesting to talk about, but we have some caveats to that. And the one caveat that we want to make is that we have kind of talked about this before, but in specific relation to combiners, right? Because we actually did an episode on combiners, episode 97, where we talked around solutions for how to make the perfect combiner. And we talked around what Age of the Primes has done with the skeleton frame sort of stuff. And then what Masterpiece Raiden and the kind of all-in-one combiners. And so there was a little bit of, I would say, Partsforming related chat in that, specifically in relation to combiners. And we're not going to repeat that. So a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight is non-combinary, isn't it, Jace?
Well, can we define what a partsformer is for me, please?
I'm so pleased that you asked, because I was going to ask you for your specific definition of partsforming.
A partsformer is not, in my opinion...
Are you defining it by what it isn't?
Yes, because that makes so much sense, obviously.
Okay, sure.
It's not an off-brand version of the Transformers either.
This is true.
Partsformers.
Partsformers. Very different. Very fragile.
Mediocrity in disguise.
Wow, okay, so we know where Liam falls on the whole debate then.
I think so. Are we defining it partsforming if you're taking off a missile or a gun? Because they're accessories, right? Yeah, I'm just defining this now.
No.
But if we're taking off
the Seekers,
wing,
Jason,
for example.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, I see. Even then, wings sort of, it depends for me. Wings, it depends, because some wings come off and become weapons. So, for example, the new Cybertron Sideways figure from Age of the Primes,
because they're lazy, innit?
And the original, those wings come off and they form a sword. You know, they become blades or whatever else. Same with something like Armada Starscream, for example. The one wing comes off and becomes a weapon. So that's not partsforming in my mind. Although Cybertron Sideways is an interesting one, because it's quite hard to leave the wings on into robot mode. You do kind of have to remove them, but then you can store them on the side of the legs or wherever else for weapon storage, if you like.
Yeah, but fictionally, when he transforms in the show, do the wings always come off?
I think they just kind of
disappear.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I'd have to rewatch.
Away.
Yeah, I'd have to rewatch. So is that your definition, Liam? Obviously, I know you're a real stickler for cartoon accuracy with your scale charts and all that kind of stuff. So
my version of partsforming is quite straightforward. If the bits come off and they're not supposed to,
right,
a la the Seekers. So in your scenario, if a wing comes off because it's a sword, that I wouldn't count as partsforming. I would just say that's a feature of the character. That's a character's trait. That's
right. I get you.
Like Jazz has his grappling hook. Some dude has a wing that turns into a sword.
Yeah.
Springer has a sword from his rotor.
Yeah, the rotor. The rotor is. Yeah. Would you count that as partsforming or not? I guess.
Mm-hmm.
No. So obviously the Seeker is the greatest version of this, because you have to take all the bits off and put extra fists that don't go anywhere in the jet mode. That's more the partsforming for me.
I love that you nearly said pluck there, because it's given me a whole new idea of how that toy transforms, the original Seeker mold, because you are literally plucking it.
Plucking feathers. Yeah.
Literally.
It's like you're plucking all the grey hairs out, aren't you?
Like plucking a chicken.
Going out. Yeah. We've all been there.
The Seekers, though, the Seekers for me are a good one to talk about, and I know we have before, but it is the fact that, is it then applying that partsforming is because you've got all this stuff to the side, like the fists? Okay, so you got stuff to the sides that you only use in one mode. So that's partsforming.
Well, that's interesting that you said about the one mode, because I think there is a
facet of it.
There is a little bit of distinction here as well, because I think some people, it's almost like there's layers of partsforming, you know, and people get irate about different levels of it. Some people are fine with some bits and not with others. So, for example, you get bits of the vehicle mode that come off and become accessories or weapons. It's like Springer. The rotors become a sword. I'm sure there are some people that are angry at that as well. Do you know what I mean? I've no doubt that, because I've discovered a lot of angry people about Transformers online. So I'm sure that there is someone.
You don't have to take them off.
No,
like the sword.
Some toys I think you do, but others not maybe. But then there's the level of so the Seekers is a good example, because most of the bits come off and then reattach in another configuration. So the wings come off, but they go on somewhere else, or some of the bits can go on, they don't even need to come off. But I think the point is that those pieces are featured in both modes, if that makes sense. So vehicle and robot feature the same parts, but the parts need to come off and reattach somehow. And then you get toys where actually part of the vehicle comes off and it stays off and it does not feature in the robot mode. And that is the sort of highest tier of partsforming, because you're literally removing whatever percentage of vehicle mode to make the robot mode. And I think that is the most egregious part of it as well.
Okay, curveball then. I actually know where this is going to go.
He's going to talk about combiners, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to talk about combiners. We all know Jason's going to talk about combiners at some point.
It's Optimus Prime, okay? So Optimus Prime...
is a partsformer, the original.
Because his trailer comes off and disappears to the side.
I love how you went for the trailer and not the
fists. Yeah, the fists.
Well, I was getting there, probably.
All of those original toys are Partsformers in some degree, or a lot of them anyway.
Yeah,
a lot of the original cast.
A good example of like where the Partsforming debate lies is if you look at Trailbreaker, and he has that radar assembly above his head in all fiction, and in the original toy you have to take it off to remove it. It has no feature in vehicle mode, but in the cartoon, obviously, it's one piece, and every toy since tries to emulate that now as an integrated piece. So people would complain or would say, that's Partsforming because you have to remove that part,
Yeah.
Whereas now if you look at the Generations toy or even the old Generations toy, and I assume the Masterpiece does the same thing.
The Masterpiece does the same thing, yeah.
It's always attached now because it's now regarded as a identifying feature of the toy, of the character. It's like an intrinsic part.
That's a really good example because, you could say, was it Partsforming on the original 1984 figure or, even before that with Diaclone? Because really it's a weapon, isn't it? It's like it's an optional weapon that you're sticking in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Not an integrated part of the robot, but it's become an integrated part of the robot. I suppose it's the same though as like Ratchet and Ironhide. The original toys technically are Partsformers because you're removing literally half of the vehicle mode, which gets set to one side as like a little sled battle platform thing. And is that Partsforming or not? I don't know.
That extends to like the Datsuns, doesn't it, with their launchers,
right?
Which now are usually parts that
integrated.
So that started with I think the first one that did it would have been the Universe Deluxe Prowl. That one had the first time I think we saw them integrated. Never since now, they're always integrated. It's just a thing those toys tend to do, except for Smokescreen because his are different, so they're often not. But even the Masterpiece there has the assembly to sort of fold them in, doesn't it?
It does.
You can unplug them.
Yeah.
And actually, the Plus version of Smokescreen, you can leave them on.
Yeah.
As you transform it.
I think you can on the first version.
Maybe. I wasn't sure. Like, I just transformed the Plus version the other day, which is why I spoke so confidently about it. But,
I remember this one.
The original.
To be fair, I only remembered it because it's literally tonight as I was putting it back in the new shelving unit. I had to slide the guns back on.
Right. Yeah.
But there's this whole... That 84, 85 wave of toys is always going to be a victim of this because obviously they weren't designed... They were designed to be Partsformers before Partsformers was a thing because they weren't designed for the cartoon. They were designed as toys in their own right with these things specifically like that. And then the cartoon is what created this then perception of these things being all in one because that's how they had to do it. Like Ultra Magnus. Like there's that age-old debate of all in one Ultra Magnus or White Prime.
Well, not to mention that the original Ultra Magnus toy has loads of bits beyond that, like the little
missile launchers,
the belt thing, and,
his little belt,
his little championship
for which he has
belt.
two, for reasons.
Yeah, just a spare belt,
just in case. You always lose a buckle. That's
one in the wash, one on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
but that cartoon really cements this whole idea because then from there it starts to get a bit less so, doesn't it? Over the years, they start leaning back to trying to integrate as many parts, but it's kind of that whole. It's a weird thing. Like there's no escaping it from the original toys, and it's a shame because you get the toys are tarred with this brush now of Partsforming. You're like, no, but that's how these toys were supposed to be. That's not the characters.
I completely agree on that. I often see, particularly nowadays, actually, it's sort of like as a whole new younger crowd has come in. You do get people looking back on the original toys with a sort of a slightly derisive opinion and sort of commenting on them laughably, like particularly stuff like Ironhide, obviously, and kind of going, oh, look at this, isn't it crap? And it's like, no, you have to put it in the context of what it was doing at the time.
God, and they're so far away from the cartoon.
Well, that's it.
It existed before the cartoon.
Yeah, exactly.
I did have someone saying that about the Ironhide toy recently, going, oh, it's not even... I can't remember how they phrased it, I'm paraphrasing, but the argument was, oh, it's not even cartoon accurate kind of thing. Like, it doesn't even look like the cartoon. And it's like, no, the cartoon didn't look like the toy.
Toy first.
It is.
Yeah,
what came first, Jason? The chicken or the Nissan Vanette? That's the way.
There's the deep questions. Exactly. Do you know, there was I have a story on Ratchet as well when I sold a spare one that I had, a G1 Ratchet on eBay. And it was the only time I ever received negative feedback on eBay, which the buyer did rescind after that because they'd replied saying it arrived broken.
Oh, no head?
No. And I was like, what do you mean it's broken? What happened? It was fine. I did pack it well and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, no, the two parts came apart. And I was like, that's how it transforms. You take it apart. And they genuinely didn't, and bless them, they didn't know. And I explained it to them, and I was like, "Go here. These are the instructions." And then he retracted the comment that he'd done as well.
That's wild.
But yeah, it was like, that was the thing. So, people come into this that don't know. That's what it was.
And it's fair enough, if people don't know the original toys, but it was rife back then. I mean, not to talk about combiners, but I'm looking across shelves of like Devastator and all of that sort of stuff. There's just additional bits going on. And
he's done it, Jason. He's fallen into
I did not want to fall into the trap. There we go.
I'm not going to talk about Devastator wholesale, but I'm more saying that it was like a very integral part of how those toys were designed, wasn't it? That you just accepted there are going to be additional bits. Yeah, exactly. That tab on in whatever way and to kind of make up bits of the robot mode.
Do you know, again, curveball, but whilst we're sitting here and talking about the ones that are Partsformers, but then it's thinking about ones, so I'm trying to think of ones that aren't Partsformers. So bear with the Dinobots.
Bumblebee's
a good one. But I was thinking Dinobots, they're not Partsformers, are they? Because it's just their accessories that you're taking on and off. Everything else is...
But even most of them, the accessories don't even go on, except for some of the missile launchers on Snarl, I think goes on his shoulder, doesn't it? And obviously you've got Swoop's missile launchers. And
Swoop is, the missile launchers, if you count that, but
they don't have to come off, do they? Because in his
character
leave model,
you could leave them on,
keeps them on
in
the
wings.
Same spot.
Yeah. I agree. Not all of those original toys are Partsformers, certainly. I mean, equally, it's not a Takara design, but Shockwave. Oh, no, actually, Shockwave is, because it's got the barrel comes off, doesn't it?
But yeah, I was thinking about Jetfire, though, because Jetfire can do both. Doesn't take all his bits off to do that.
Well, Jetfire actually is one of the few Transformers, as I've discovered in the pub once, that you can transform one-handed. So
wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at this weird flex.
Yeah, a little technique for it.
What is this?
It wasn't me. It was Paul Hitchens, just there, literally like, oh, look at this. And suddenly he's like spinning the thing in the air and bits are floating around all over the place. And then it's in robot mode. And it's like, oh, okay.
Just imagining that gif of, that person swinging the small child around and it's like that point of view of the child's face and it's in a Jetfire. But Jason, you have raised a fantastic example here because Jetfire, I wouldn't say is a Partsformer because the robot you can transform completely without taking any parts off.
Yeah.
You got the red bits, it's all armor and add-ons and boosters. But this is where we start to separate things. Like another one is Hoist, his orange thing on his back.
Yeah.
And it's like on some toys that comes as like an accessory and stuff. And I remember the Generations Hoist that came out, the Thrilling 30 one, there was an upgrade kit that came with the orange bit to put on, the whatever that assembly stuff with the wings and all of that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Gubbins.
Yeah.
And I remember like you can transform it attached, and I always really appreciated that touch because for some reason it made it feel more whole. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I know. I've got that one as well. Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, to me though, it's funny how on more modern toys, how Partsforming has become this sort of like problem to be solved almost, and they've got to like integrate more stuff into the designs and things like this. I mean, actually, funny enough, so my son has become very interested in Soundwave as a character and really wants a Soundwave toy. His birthday's coming up, all of this. And so I showed him a couple of them, and one of which was the retro Soundwave. And he really liked it, although it was quite funny because his comment was, oh, it's cool, but it's quite flat. And I was like, sure. And he thought Ravage was hilarious because he was like, he's really flat. And then initially he was like, he's only got 2 legs. And I was like, no, he does. Look, he's got 4 legs. You just have to,
Just very thin.
I think he thought they should just expand outwards somehow, and they obviously they don't. But I think what put him off slightly was the idea that you would have to put all the guns for the cassettes to one side when they're in cassette mode. Yeah. And then it's like you'd have to carry them around. He loved the integrated batteries though, and he thought that was so much cooler than like the more modern generations, Legacy Siege sort of Earthrise design, where they just sort of plug into the sides on the back of the tape deck or whatever.
Yeah.
So he thought the batteries was super cool. And actually, Microman Designs did that pretty well. They
did.
Of thing.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, they were kind of quite good at that.
Soundwave's another interesting one because the issue I always have with Soundwave is the missile in his gun, because it doesn't go anywhere because it's a missile on the toy, but it's always depicted as actually just the tip of his gun.
Yes.
When you see it in fictional, it's not drawn as a missile; it's drawn as just the end of his gun. So it's kind of mentally still have that little block about it, like when I transform, it doesn't go anywhere. It's the only bit that doesn't.
Because even the Masterpiece and the recent toys make it part of the weapon, don't they? It
just slides out.
Yeah,
it does.
Which is cool. But that's kind of what I mean, is that like a lot of more modern toys, have then attempted to solve this issue of parts forming by, like, your Trailbreakers, your Soundwaves, lots of them, Hoist, you can name loads of characters. They've integrated parts that previously would have been separate in some way. And even with, like, Missing Link, they're trying to do this thing now with, like, integrating fists on the Optimus, for example. And
How are they going to do it on that Magnus? Do you think they're going to do it on the Magnus?
I don't know.
Where could it go?
I find it fascinating.
This is the chat right now, isn't it?
Yeah,
this is everywhere. Everyone trying to work out where the hinge points are and all that kind of stuff,
But you can still see, like, the joins where the figure is, the plastic, it joins together. But that's not a hinge, or it doesn't like a hinge, so I'm curious. But it's also, it's funny because, like, a few years ago they took it to a new level when they started integrating weapons into characters in the movies. You remember when this became a running thing in Transformers, where suddenly all the weapons were integrated.
It's your arm or whatever,
Yeah. But this created its own problem because the toys can't physically do that. So the toys all, by virtue then, suddenly they have now rendered the weapons as part forming for those characters and those toys. Because
you have to take, like, an arm off and then replace it.
Like in the film, you think of Optimus guns coming out, like, they look cool, but no toy could physically ever do that. Like that kind of level of gun that comes out of his arm. So it's always an extra add-on piece. And the War for Cybertron things are a great example of this because they start doing that as well. And so the toys now come with it. So you have to pull the arms off and plug them in. And you're like, it's fine, but I would have just preferred them to be able to hold a gun. You know what I mean?
It's,
kind of, this is not the best of both worlds. This is not really a good solution to any of them.
I know what you mean. I must admit, it's a sort of separate thing, but from a fictional standpoint, I suppose logically the idea that, I'm a robot, I can turn my arm into a gun makes sense, but I find it more satisfying when they have a separate gun that they hold. It's just my personal preference.
It suggests they're only built for fighting, kind of. Yeah. And I think that kind of always runs against the grain of what the Transformers are to me, where they're all just people that have picked a side and, like humans, have decided conflict. Like, we aren't born with swords sticking out of our elbows. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, I kind of agree. And I do think it's more interesting, the idea, particularly on the Autobot side, maybe on the Decepticons as well, of, like, a character that has chosen to pick up a weapon rather than a character that can become a weapon of some sort, with a few exceptions like Megatron and things like this. But
because so much of this stuff is part of the character, isn't it? Like the vehicle mode. Sea Spray is a hovercraft and he's a watery guy.
Yeah.
Megatron is a gun and he's a baddie. Starscream is a jet fighting weapon of war. He's a baddie. It kind of, Soundwave is a tape cassette player, so he's a communications expert. That it's all intrinsic to the character. So the second you say they also have guns in their arm, you're like, well, that just means they're a weapon of war as well as those things.
They're warriors,
if their personality is defined by what they transform into, then the fact that it can also transform into a gun, and it's kind of not just the common man uprisings and this sort. It's a different kind of story.
I see exactly what you're saying.
It does go into that thing, though, with Megatron and Optimus having the mace and the axe as well, though, which are parts in the toys, obviously, and it was part of the cartoon. It's part of that. But I remember when I was younger, when Prime suddenly made this flaming axe appear, I was a bit like, really? Why has he got that? It's like, because he's, that is part of him in the cartoon. Yeah. It's like, comes out of his little hole in his arm, doesn't it? but it's a
his
very
wrist.
different thing. Yeah, his wrist. He was a librarian originally. He'd have some kind of PDA, or that'd be much better, wouldn't he? Be like, Megatron pulls out a mace, he pulls out a PDA, foils him with some spelling tests, that kind of stuff. That would make more sense, wouldn't it? Obviously,
would it though?
No,
in Jason World, I get what you're saying, and the integrated weapons thing, I think is kind of a whole separate point. But I mean, in terms of modern toys, certainly they have tried to integrate more and more parts, haven't they? And it's kind of become more of a thing. I think that's interesting in itself because I don't think it always works. Like, I think sometimes it's really successful, and there are Masterpiece toys that I think have done it, for example, and done it really well, and I'm like, that's super cool. Like, I like the way they've done that. And then there are other examples where I'm like, it's so fiddly just to incorporate this piece that could have been an additional piece, actually Trailbreaker is a good example, because if you've not seen it, you were left so much at how they integrate. It's more his shoulder cannons and those bits. So, like, the shoulder cannon thing, because he's got that kind of like rifle piece or whatever that sits over his shoulder. that actually splits in two like that, and it has to sort of sit flat, like a flat piece that then slides inside the block of the kind of back of the camper van mode, but it slides into a very thin sort of shape, sort of wedge just between like the arms and the legs and all of that kind of stuff. And it's so weird when you're transforming it because it doesn't feel like anything that is sort of traditional in a weird way. And to me, it just has this slightly, not, I don't want to say over-engineered because it's very clever and it's not really cumbersome in any way, but it also feels like a bit unnecessary. You know, you kind of get to the point where you're like, we could have just removed this and that would have been fine.
It's not, that kind of stuff isn't fun. It's very impressive and the way it's done, but it's like, this just isn't fun. This is just fiddly now. And I don't want to scratch it. And do you know what it made me think of was what is fun, a toy that has weapons hidden very effectively is animated Ultra Magnus, which has weapons all over it as part of the body of the robot. And the only bit you have to add to him at the end is his big, massive hammer, which is an accessory, right? But other than that, he's got all these other accoutrements that come out of him. And I really love that as well, which is part of, again, what you're saying, Liam, it's part of his character, of what he is there as well. But I find on the Masterpiece, they were kind of doing that from it was like an engineering test more than anything else a lot of the time to integrate it.
Accuracy for the sake of it, innit? I think that's what they're so beholden to trying to get that accurate thing. And it's kind of cool to see the engineering, the levels they go to, because the MP11 Seekers, or was it MP12? Which way around was it?
It was MP...
Was it 11, wasn't it?
I think it's 11,
11 is MP11. Yeah. I had to think there. My God, it's like... I could have told you instantly, a couple of years ago. But yeah, MP11.
Like they have the null rays that can stay on. That was the first time. And at first I thought, oh, that's a cool idea. And then I got them. And then each time I remember like twisting it round, trying to work out which way around. It's like, come on, man, which way? I can't work out the alternate. Then it goes and you're like, oh, great, thankfully. And you're like...
No.
Was it worth this? Really?
Yeah.
that is such a great example. Yeah. It's the same on the new ones, the MP52 Seekers, and it's interesting. It's interesting. I like what they've done with it, but there is also, it's particularly when you're trying to, and I found it was the same on MP11. It's when you're trying to tab them in under the wings in jet mode, and again, you've got to get the little armature thing like the right way round, and you just end up thinking, this is such a pain in the bum for something that could have just been taken off and put on again. So it's cool, but also it's integration just for the sake of it in a weird way. The other one I would use as an example is old Jinrai, your mate Jim Ray,
Jim
Ray.
Yeah. I know someone called Jim Ray now as well. It's very weird.
No.
I do.
Does he turn into a truck?
He's a fellow mentor.
Is he a truck driver?
I need to ask him.
He's got a really his hair. Natty little outfit.
He doesn't know he's so famous.
Does he fold up into a weird square and kind of horrify you as he snaps his legs in ways they should not bend?
Snaps a tiny little bit of his fingernail off. That's all it is,
What will surprise you, Liam, to discover is that actually Jason calls this guy Jinrai by mistake every time. So gets his name wrong. And
he calls him Power Master Optimus Prime. Are you Haikyuu?
But yeah, so anyway, your old mate Jim Ray. Well, of course, we had the Fans Hobby one. I know it's third party, but I remember thinking how silly it was, really, that they'd done this weird, again, this like armature thing that took the head from where it was stored in the vehicle mode and sort of swung around over the top of the cab piece when you put it into place, just so that the head could attach on top of the combined form. And, you could sort of say, oh, the head is integrated now because it's on this really long extending arm. And I always remember thinking this is such a faff for something that, the head could just be plugged on afterwards in the sort of traditional way of the G1 toy. And then they did the MPG figure, and I really like the combination of that thing. But it's the same damn thing. It's on a little arm that swings round, and it's like, what are we doing here? Just plug it in.
Yeah.
It's funny because the idea of it, you're like, when you get the MPG figure, you're like, this sort of works until you have to plug it in.
Exactly.
And then because of the way it works, it doesn't want to go in properly. It requires a lot of effort. And it's probably maybe 7 out of 10 times you get it right. And there's other 3 of the really annoying when you're constantly pushing it and trying to get it in, and it has to bend. You have to bend the legs out just enough to get it in, and it's like, was it worth this hassle, really?
This is it. And I do think we've hit sort of peak era of really worrying about this stuff now in a way that actually we never used to. I mean, it's so funny because I see a lot of people, and I'm not talking about combiners, but I see a lot of people now.
He is Liam.
I'm not. I'm using it one example, and here's an example. But I see a lot of people like the new HasLab Lyakaiser. A lot of people are up in arms about the fact that it's got non-integrated thighs, right? So it's got like the thighs of the combined mode, which is what they're doing for all of the modern combiners. So that's the whole thing. But the thighs sit to the side, and I think they become like a
at least
missile
4
thing.
in by the time that comes out at this rate.
Yeah, it's so true. But I think what's funny is that HasLab Omega Prime, which is the last HasLab that came out, obviously follows the original 2000, and 2001 design very closely. And actually, I was thinking about it the other day and transforming it and thinking how weird it is. And of course, it's a hallmark of the original, so it's not just the new toy does it, but how weird it is that there's loads of bits of the combined mode Optimus Prime figure that then just come off again and don't feature in the full Omega Prime mode.
Totally, off to the side.
Yeah, and I think if that was a new design now, if they just designed a new figure without making it look like anything from the past, there's no way that would happen. There's no way that you take all the stuff off, just plonk it on the side. And I know it becomes kind of like a little base, but not really. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's a very small base for a large robot.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's a bit tenuous. And I just don't think you would get that in a design now as a new design.
I was looking at the upgrade kit, for the Legacy Dino King.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So DNA Designs is a thingy, because I really like the Legacy Dino King. All the parts are, mostly kind of integrated. You still have to attach the hands and feet and the head, but most of it goes together. But there's one of the pictures, it's just what you just remind me of, is like they've got the 2 feet squished together and all the bits attached in a sort of like base stand mode.
Right.
And it's like, why? Who's buying that thinking, oh man, thank God it can do that, otherwise there would have been a no sale.
Yeah.
Thinking, the feet. People just want better articulated feet. Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's just holding up the swords like a trophy thing. You're
like a little display.
What?
Yeah. It's really funny stuff like that, because it's almost like people really need to know that every part of the toy can have a second function in like a separate mode or something. And it's like, I kind of get that, but at the same time, sometimes it's okay to just have a couple of extra pieces, and it's not the end of the world, is it?
So bases. So certain ones we're talking about here. So Metroplex, that'd be a Partsformer because his fists got attached, and
that's a big Partsformer. Yeah,
it's a big Partsformer. But Omega Supreme, not a Partsformer.
Is it? Well, technically it is,
because all his bits are his wings.
Yeah, but this is it's the levels of Partsformeriness, isn't it? Because like Metroplex is probably the most egregious form of Partsformer, because actually, yes, the fists come off and they don't feature in
at all
in either of the other 2 modes.
Like the Seekers.
Yes.
So that's like level 3 or whatever. I don't know. I think we're working on 3 levels, so I think that's level 3.
So that's peak Partsforming.
That's peak Partsforming. Absolutely.
Well, we need to label these tiers. Like
we do, don't we? Yeah. We need snappy names for them.
S tier Partsforming.
Yeah, we could rank. We could do an episode ranking them.
That sounds really boring.
It does, doesn't it? It sounds awful. Yeah.
You guys can do that.
Probably the worst idea for an episode we've ever had. We'll do it with Maz when you're on holiday, Jason.
Yes.
He'll love that.
Oh, he'll love that.
Yeah. He will actually be into that.
Probably would love that, actually, wouldn't he? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he will. But, Omega, I think, is the next tier down, because actually, you're right. All of the parts come off and it separates into its component functional pieces, but then it all goes back together again. Yeah. And actually, I say that because the track, there are bits left over, aren't there? You can kind of have the larger wings.
Yeah, you can have massive wings.
Yeah.
But
which looks silly.
Traditional look is missing kind of 4 track pieces, isn't it?
Yeah.
As well. And then so do we go to 0 on our scale though? Because is there a level below that? Like we have. Oh, the Seekers are up there at 3, are they, Liam? Is that where we're putting Seekers?
I think the Seekers are like the poster child of Partsforming. So I think they are like whatever the S tier is.
Yeah. Okay. Got you. Yeah. But then, so Bumblebee would be down. Your Bumblebee, Cliffjumper, Gears. All these guys are down at the lower, the 1 or.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there are tons in the
zeros. There's nothing Partsforming.
Nothing's Partsforming. Exactly.
They're not even on a tier. They didn't even make a tier.
They're not even there.
They're not included.
There are tons of no Partsforming Transformers, like absolutely loads. It's I mean, it not just from like Masterpiece, but. Obviously now they've done the MPG Raiden with all of it's another combiner, I know, but with all the integrated stuff.
The worst.
I love how we had this conversation, Jason, didn't we? And I was like, We were like, it's going to be Jason. Let's see how long it takes. And it's not. Man. It's just Sixo repeatedly.
People don't realise before we started recording, it gave us all these rules. I'm literally here, bound my arms together so I don't click anything and don't touch anything and make any additional noises, you know?
Very, very often when we have one of our...
It's true.
Yeah, it's true. Very often when we have one of our little pre-record huddles, you know, and it's like, come on guys, it's game time. And we all do the woo, like the little... People can't see what I'm doing, but we do like the Mexican wave and we get ourselves.
This was the bit where
I
was looking at Twitter to see who Forrest had signed
today.
Right. He always misses the Mexican wave bit.
Yeah, the Mexican wave is the best bit. We always do that without fail. Liam, I've noticed your enthusiam for it waning over the.
I hope you did that
with
Maz when he came back. I'm sure he loved that.
He was a big fan of the Mexican wave, definitely. Pre-show.
He's refreshed.
Pre-show bants, you know, get us all psyched up.
He's refreshed after his long break.
Oh, he is, But I do often think when we're doing those little pre-show huddles that I know I often say to you both, I'm like, right, guys, these are the bits that we want to avoid or not talk about tonight. And then in my head, secretly, I'm thinking, there's no f***ing way I'm sticking to that.
Like, you're like making it. Don't think of a white polar bear, and then you're just like talking about the white polar bear.
I'm just telling you not to talk about certain things because I intend to talk about them. So
exactly.
Wait, are there other colour of polar bear?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Because then don't think of a black polar bear, but that's
just a bear.
But that's a bear.
Just a bear. I know exactly. That's it, isn't it? You know. It's a
no, I don't know.
It's the whole point about like when you tell somebody. So you get this. So if you're learning to ride a motorbike or doing paragliding or anything like that, if someone says to you, "Don't look at the post," it's target fixation, and you'll hit the post, right?
I understand
so
that.
Don't think of a polar bear.
I think it was the colour of the bear thing.
Why I started talking about this. It's because you told us not to talk about things.
Don't think of a polar bear is fine, but you were very specific and you don't think of a white polar bear.
I did put white in front of polar bear. I see what you're saying. I missed that bit. I've been using that all my life, that saying, and no one's ever...
Don't think of a black polar bear. A bear.
Funny, breaking news, but white polar bears are actually black polar bears. They've just got a lot of snow on them. That's probably how
it's the fur.
albino polar bears.
Oh god.
I know. But back to Omega Supreme though, because I'm talking G1, but also one of my favorites, which is the Cybertron. Split in half guy, right?
Yeah.
Now, where does that fit? Because that's just two toys that combined together.
I think it's okay for toys to split apart into component pieces.
Because I wouldn't call that a Partsformer. No. I would say that's just that is a transformer that... So it gets into combiner then, doesn't it? I suppose. That's
there are differences between stuff like that, which is just the transformation.
Exactly.
And then you have things like accessories, which is, say, I don't know, a character having a gun.
Yeah.
And then you have, again, you come back to the Seekers, because that's the obvious one. It's like bits come off and then have to go back on.
Yeah.
So anyway, transform them. Like you take the wings off or you add parts. Like, again, the Seekers, the fists is the same bit, isn't it? It's like they have no purpose. They don't go anywhere in the jet mode.
Yeah, for sure.
That's kind of parts for me. That's different to something like Energon Omega doesn't have that, doesn't he? You just basically bisect him.
Yeah.
Split him in half.
Back to the RoboCop 2 nightmare.
Sorry, Liam. PTSD.
Liam's talking
some other toy. Jason, move on.
I know. Another Omega Supreme. Quick.
Well, okay. I was going to say, in the same vein that I don't count headmasters as Partsforming because it's part of
little nebula.
That's the gimmick.
Yeah, it's the gimmick, exactly. It's an integrated, designed way that they transform. They're little people.
Yeah.
And that to me is not... Nobody's sitting there going, oh my God, Partsforming about a headmaster, are they? Because that's just what they do.
Well,
Target
sir,
okay.
You were not around in the Titans Return era because there were a lot of people who had this very issue. Because then obviously you had this converging of characters and a gimmick, and they brought back the headmaster gimmick, but they started applying it to non-headmaster characters. Like Blur is the best example of this, because there were lots of people who modded their Titans Return Blurs so he could transform without Partsforming, without removing the head.
Without removing the head, yeah.
I wouldn't call it Partsforming, but there are people who think of it like that. They are so set in Blur's head doesn't come off. He's not
right, because he's not traditionally a headmaster, so he should not be a headmaster in this line. Yeah. I mean, again, I think I've said before that, as someone that was sort of sitting on the sidelines of Titan's Return when it was new, shy of Maz shoving these things in my hand in the pub at the time, which he did. But, I did look at a lot of those characters and I was like, what? They've made that guy a headmaster now? What are they doing? What's that about? And I was probably a little bit like, this is heresy, about some of that stuff.
Yeah.
But actually, I've come to really love it, and I think it's super cool. And you kind of get over it once you realise that actually it's a kid's toy line and it doesn't really matter.
That was the line. That was the point. That was the gimmick. Yeah, exactly.
And it's very Diaclone in its way. Little people that can fit
exactly.
vehicles.
And it's fun and whatever else.
There is the stuff in those Titans Returns figures, though, that are like the sleds and those bits, though, which for me are quite often defunct pieces. They're kind of clumsy guns, and they're a wee bit tacked on. I always felt as well,
but they're never intrinsic to the vehicle.
They're not required. You could lose them and it wouldn't matter. Right?
Yeah, they're just crap guns that third parties normally did a better one of, and then you would just chuck it in a drawer and replace it with that. That was the most part. But I'm sure there's a couple where it is part of the vehicle mode somewhere. But for the 99% of them, they are just, it's a gun with a chair in it.
Yeah. Stick it on the side.
Yeah. Like, I think Blur's his shield at the front. It's a sled that flipped upside down, wasn't it?
And it clipped on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, I was just going to mention about shields as a thing, because in a way, I kind of feel like I know we said about Sideways, the Cybertron Sideways, and his wings becoming swords. I kind of mind that less than I mind like a whole back of a car coming off to be a shield. Do you know what I mean? But just because...
Totally with you, man. It's Partforming, but just with an added peg.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah. No, the one I always think of from sort of fairly recent memories is the... what is it? It's the Earthrise RC, isn't it? Where like half the car back comes off.
Yeah.
And what's the deal with that? Because it can stay on the robot mode, or it can't.
It can, and then they had a secondary mode where she can stand on it like a hovercraft.
Right. Oh, that's right.
But it's just the top of the car, because obviously they have to get the Cybertronian-looking car and a very slender-looking woman, and that was their compromise in that
solution.
But that thing is exactly this. What you're saying is, I hate stuff like that where it's like, and here's the front of the jet now, which is a shield.
A shield.
Like, you just don't have anywhere else to put it. Just put a hinge in, dude. Come on.
Yeah, I think that's the worst example. Like, not RC specifically, but that style.
Yeah, no, that's
like,
terrible. Yeah,
just taking off. I mean, some of them, it's literally that you remove the whole roof of the car.
Yeah, it's like and half the
whop it on the And I don't like that so much. There are exceptions to that, I will say, like Sideburn and things like that. I think of as a design, I think is super cool. And obviously on the original, it's all kind of integrated, and you've got the kind of car roof is a shield on his arm, and that is integrated, and I think that works really nicely. The legacy version actually does kind of come off. You can sort of leave it on, but you've got the option to remove it if you want to as well. And again, I don't mind that, because I think that that's sort of an inherent trait of the character, if that makes sense.
And that's an addition, I think, because it was there originally. They've just given you an option to do more with it. You
exactly.
Have to...
Yeah, you can put it on his back or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it's not something you have to remove because they couldn't figure out some other way of doing it, which is, I think
in some ways it all comes down to the individual toys for me, I think, as well. Like, there are definitely examples where I would say, no, this doesn't bother me, and other examples where I'm like, this is a bit wank. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, maybe it's a case by case.
Yeah, so I can get behind that, because for me, the idea of it doesn't bother me. In general, it doesn't bother me. Where it bothers me is it's where it's only there because they're trying to make it look, say, like the cartoon, or they're striving for accuracy in some other way. And so you end up with this ridiculous extra bits that, there, or where it's needlessly lazy, like the shield roofs and stuff like that, where you're like, it's not a shield, it is just a roof, and you've got no other reason for it. Things like that, and big parts where they just don't go that extra mile with stuff like that.
It is the inventiveness, isn't it? Because I'm thinking about X-Brawn from RID, which is like, got a big chunky bit of car at the end of his arm.
Yeah.
As part of the transformation. And I don't know if it splits the room as such, but I absolutely love those robots modes. And the same thing, I was thinking of Robo Machines that I had as well that absolutely stayed as one piece, but that meant you got an entire top of a car as the head with a little pilot inside it. Different kind of vibe. But they owned it with that, didn't they? They didn't try and hide the fact that this is a car that is transformed. It's going to still look like a car, and it's just going to have some kind of quite janky arms and all this kind of stuff.
Definitely.
With 2 fingers, which is kind of cool. So it depends what you're going for, doesn't it? Like Liam's saying, you're trying to get that accuracy to the cartoon is a very different brief than if you're a car that transforms into some kind of mechanoid.
Yeah, I think there are still weird examples. Like I was just thinking of MP9 Rodimus, and
I was thinking of that as well.
Yeah, that's not a big Partsformer until you get to the Rodimus Prime Winnebago mode. Second time we've talked about Winnebagos tonight, so I don't know what that says.
Living the dream,
Americans
showing our age.
Be lit.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, they'll all be enjoying that, I'm sure. But the Winnebago mode is literally a giant parts-forming thing, isn't it? It's like a box that you bring in, and then you smush Hot Rod or Rodimus or whatever you want to call
him.
Scratch him. Sandpaper down the insides and all of that. All of that good fun.
Oh, brilliant.
But you twist and contort the thing into sort of a vague box and then plug it into the front of the trailer and then bring down the front of the vehicle mode. And so actually what you're seeing as the vehicle mode from the actual toy is very little. It's like the front wheels, basically.
Yeah.
It's just like the bumper, isn't it? Almost.
Yeah.
Not even that. It's just like it's just the wheels and a couple of the pipes,
basically,
isn't it?
And the wheel arches maybe, but
and that's the sort of thing where you can see what they're going for. They're going for the look because it looks spectacular once you get it into the vehicle mode. It's stunning. They've never done a better looking Rodimus Prime. But again, you're kind of like, it's such an effort to get there for something that is just a shell closing for the sake of it. And it's that kind of thing where your RC example is the perfect one of that, where you just look at it and go, this toy is not very good. None of this serves any real purpose that for the power of good. It's just a bad toy with a really terrible parts forming feature.
I see what you're saying. In a way, I give MP9 a pass, I'm going to be honest, because it's also Hot Rod and Hot Rod's vehicle mode. So the fact that it does
it does all of
there's an engineering miracle going on.
And it's incredible.
But a lot of the Masterpiece stuff, you can sort of forgive some of it for that reason, because you're like, there's an engineering element here that's incredible to see. But at the same time, you're like, sometimes, like the Trailbreaker example is another one where you're like, it's too far. And even the MP11 ones, you're like, this feels very unnecessary.
Absolutely.
It was that Masterpiece line, wasn't it? And that's we talked about this before, to do with like, what is a Masterpiece toy now? Is it going for
perfect
accuracy?
Transformation?
Yeah, exactly. And putting in that level of engineering, so it's going to involve like over 100 steps to do it all in one move. So it gets you as close as you possibly can. But it always comes back to what I bang on about, which I love in a Transformer or any toy, which is it fun? That's what it comes down to.
Well, this is exactly it. And I know it's interesting because neither of you have mentioned it, but Masterpiece Raiden, which is a combiner, is a really pertinent example here.
He's still on that same track.
Yeah, exactly. I'm surprised neither of you brought this in full steam ahead, but I will make that concession.
Jason, his train isn't leaving this station.
But I do think it's a good example, because I only use it as an example because we were talking about it in our little friend chat recently with some of the other chaps, and we were sort of saying, I think it was today actually, and saying, saying that actually the thing with that is that I don't think they should have made it an all-in-one. They tried to do something and they made it an all-in-one, but it suffers as a result because it's A, not as stable in the combined mode, and B, it's just no fun. It's what you were saying, Jason. The result of transforming it into the combined mode. The individual toys I really like, but the combined mode, let's not get into that toy again, because it's.
You were saying that today, though.
Yeah,
I remember you saying that, and I thought that's a good point, because we've had this conversation before. Like, it doesn't do much for me, but you and Maz both adore the trains.
The trains,
I think you do too,
themselves.
Jason. Like the individuals.
Yeah. Keep in mind, I've not combined mine still, right?
Still,
because I can't find it. I found two.
That was your homework.
I know, from like a year ago.
We in one of our pre-show chats, I remember telling you that you had to do.
Do you know what did happen the other day though, when I was moving stuff? Remember, Liam, many episodes ago, I said I had some additional Triptychon pieces, and I checked my collection. and I didn't have them, it's because they are in a separate bag in the filing cabinet. So I have since found the Triptychon pieces. So who knows? Maybe we will complete your Triptychon. Although I did see you bought
Jason,
some on
just on this
TFN,
tangent,
did you?
it's already completed because
yes, success. Thank you.
Our
I'm
lovely
glad
friend
I could help.
Hoda gave me that final piece.
Of course he did.
this year.
Of course he did. Oh, that makes sense. Exactly.
The best. He is the best guy.
I showed 7-0 Hodet's collection the other week. We're talking because he's been watching the. It's funny because Hodet texted me and said, because we were talking about the fact that we'd been watching season 3 of the cartoon, the original 80s cartoon, and he was like, "Oh, does he like Triptychon?" And I said, "Oh, yeah, I think he does." And anyway, I showed him Hodet's collection on Instagram, and he thought it was brilliant. And he was like, "What? Just the one character?" And I was like, "Yeah, but like, look at all the ones that he's got." And he just thought it was amazing.
Yeah, it's
absolutely amazing.
It is amazing. Super. It's incredible. Yeah. He's an incredible dude.
He is.
There you go. I knew you'd complete it. Brilliant. Excellent. I'm so pleased.
Oh.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you.
No problem.
So pleased to have ticked that little event off our off my mental list.
I'll get back to finding the trains.
Please do. You need to complete that train block.
So another combiner you were mentioning there, Sixo. So
I was talking about the combiner. I know we said that we wouldn't, but I just thought I'd throw this one in.
You said we wouldn't. That's what you said.
I said you wouldn't. Yes. But I do think it's a good example because of what you're saying, that it's not fun to combine it is the thing. And a lot of that is, and I wanted to use a really specific example, the bits like on the side of the feet where like the old school toy, the original riding toy, they're just little bits that plug in. They're a little accessory that comes in. Even the third party one, it's a massive piece, but it just plugs in on the side. With the MPG one, they decided to go this route of taking part of the trains and turning that into, like, transforming it literally into these like weird things that plug into the side of his feet. I think the result looks messy, and I think it's very convoluted, and I think they don't hang on very well either. That's by the by, but they fall off, which is really annoying. And it's just a real weird, like, what was the point here thing? Because it's still parts forming in a way, but the idea is to take a piece off and put it somewhere else, I guess, and to not have anything set aside. But it just doesn't do anything for me. That, like, I would have found it less of a faff to just bring in a sort of separate piece and plug them in, which then they bloody broke it by having the separate hip piece anyway. Do you know what I mean? Of like, they brought out this additional piece to make the
clip on.
I was going to mention that it's kind of like they went to all this effort and then we're like, actually, it looks better if you just add this extra hip piece in. Like
what we did.
Yeah.
Another example is the Ocular Max Mastermind Creations, those all-in-one combiners.
Yeah.
And I think their whole thing is they don't do parts forming. So no matter how convoluted they are, I'm always like wowed because you can see their whole thing is, can we do this? And it's like a challenge to themselves. Like, can we get these combiners all in one with no extraneous pieces? And it's incredible to behold. It's not something I would buy, but I look at them and I marvel.
They are really good.
It's really nice to see someone still focusing on a goal with these toys. Like,
I like
doing something from an engineering standpoint and challenging themselves to see if they can do it. I'm pulling it off.
Was it Oculus Max that did the? So I was thinking of triple changes. So triple changes are a great example of a non-parts forming transformer, and that is the polar opposite, isn't it? It's just like, all right, all the bits stay on. You got to transform into all 3 modes.
Mostly, unless you look at like G1 Octane, where
I was going to say Silver with his shield.
The shield.
It's the classic shield. But your Blitzwing is a good example, isn't it? And that's a great example as well. And the animated one in particular, which I love, that's a lot of fun to transform.
That's really good. That's really clever.
And that's the thing. And I think that's it. Whether or not it's a parts former or it's a all-in-one transformation, it's about that level of fun that you have and those little moments of surprise where you're just like, that bit could become this bit, and you're like, that's cool, it looks really good, it makes it look amazing. So that's Cybertron Optimus Prime in the way that you can bulk him out, take him apart,
technically
add these
a
massive wings.
Yeah.
Epic parts former, but looks cool, doesn't he? Looks like really nice. And it's you're going for a different vibe from each of those, aren't you? That's the reality of
I think that's exactly it for me, and I think it comes back to what we were just saying a second ago, in that maybe it's just about the individual toys and the way that they pull off whatever it is that they're trying to do. Because actually, I think I agree with you, Liam. I think the Ocular Max examples actually do it pretty successfully for the most part, and they do kind of pull it off, if anything. Whereas I think if you just tried to apply that all-in-one approach to everything, I don't think it works in every example.
No.
I think there are going to be examples where you're like, this should have been done differently.
Yeah.
But it's the same for me with all of this. It just depends on the individual toy. Like you, I don't hate the idea of parts forming, and I think sometimes I don't want to say it's necessary, but it probably equals a better result at times. And there are also times where actually it's fun to see them try and avoid it. So
yeah, but the better result as well, it goes two ways, because it's a better result sometimes aesthetically, but it's also sometimes a better result just from the point of making a toy. There's something to play with. Like you think of, I don't know, G1 Fort Max or any of the base things where you have to pull parts off here and there, like accessories and bits and bobs. They're mostly accessories, but they're better for having those things. And like, say, even like
Micromaster bases have that.
Yeah, but yeah, there we go. The Micromaster base is tremendous. Another one where bits have to come off and they come back on.
It's really fun.
But even modern stuff like the legacy combiners, because you get extra bits that turn into little things, and it's like they're sort of less successful. But then you have stuff like Super Jinrai, the original Power Master Prime, and all these things, and you're just like, so much of the fun in a lot of these toys is bolting bits on and then becoming almost like playsets or just fun toys. Like even the Seekers, like silliness, but the Van Brothers, like Ironhide and Ratchet, like them not looking like the cartoon doesn't stop them being fantastic toys, because you have that weird little base and
it's so
the
true.
treads
and
and the missiles and
for them to zoom around.
And there's like Metroplex bits that just bolt on for whatever reason.
Those are really fun examples. I can't believe you mentioned a combiner, Liam. It's we did say that we wouldn't. But
well, to be fair, I went too soon with the legacy combiners, because I thought about it, like, oh, actually, those bits. I don't think those bases are very successful.
yeah. It's fair point.
But from an aesthetic thing, they look fantastic.
They
do. The Combiner War stuff was brilliant as well, because it did it all in one, but with hands and feet that they made into weapons. That was fantastic, and that was really fun to play with. And I think it's the same with these, but they're just a different way of doing it. But I appreciate both.
Exactly that. Yeah, and I think that's it for me. I don't feel the need to make like a hard line rule of like no parts forming, or like I love parts forming. It's whatever. It's like, does it work for the individual toy, and is it egregious or not? There's always going to be some where like your RC from Earthrise or whatever, where I'm like, what is this? Why have we done it this way? This is crap.
That is just a crap toy, though.
That's the difference. It's not because it's parts forming; it's just because it's not a good toy. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, exactly. But then there are other examples where stuff parts forms, and I think, yep, this is fine actually. Like Combiner Wars is a good example. I know it's combiners, but hey, like
I know everyone.
I know. But like, would those toys, those individual limbs, have been better for having integrated hands and feet? No, quite simply, would they?
No.
Like the designs, it would have been a completely different thing, but it would have made the individual toys a lot less fun for having to integrate a hand and things like that. So I'm pleased that they just didn't do that, frankly.
I'll give you an example of a weird one that's kind of like a great toy, but ever so slightly disappointing, and it's a Legacy Beachcomber.
Oh, right.
All right, yeah.
Which is fantastic. It's all in one, except for it has a front grille that has to come off, and it turns into a gun. And it's like, that sounds like it should be cool, but it just looks like he's holding the grill with the lights on, with a bit that flips at the end. It's not a successful gun. And I'm like, it's a very minor thing to quibble about, but I'm like, it just kind of spoils the look of the car mode without it, because it's designed to have this bit. But then when you take it off and he holds it as a gun, you're like, well, it kind of looks a bit rubbish as a gun, and there's nowhere else to do, nothing else to do with it.
It is a weird one, particularly as you can sort of see the peg, can't you, in the front of the car mode? Like they've obviously not painted the peg because it's got to go into his fist. Shame that they didn't just cast it in black plastic, but I guess probably that's not enough room on the sprue or whatever when they were doing it. But I guess it is what it is. But yeah, that is a strange one. But I was just thinking as well that like there are some really successful periods of no parts forming, and it's done really well. Like I would cite a lot of Beast Wars as non-parts forming stuff. There are some examples, but even then, the weapons and everything is so integrated typically that like it's a lot of quite cohesive toys. Everything kind of works in both modes. Like, and you're left with nothing left over. There's no other parts on the table once you transform those things. All the weapons integrate.
There could be some Could be some fists hanging down though in a few places.
Are they hanging down in the right places? I know what you're going to say,
but I do remember
back to the chocolate salty balls.
Exactly.
Back to Jason talking about putting fists up a dog's ass again. I think, unfortunately,
it wasn't me. It was Kenner. No,
it was you, mate.
It was me.
Yeah.
That's true. It was me. But the Optimus Primal that you shared when we did that episode, that
piles.
Was
that's what they are. Sorry, I was trying to think. I was like, what do you call those lumps up?
That's what his name should be.
Piles.
Piles.
Maximal Warrior Piles.
Piles the dog. Lovely.
Oh, bless. Oh, no.
If people want to listen to this chat, it's on our Patreon.
Come and join. It's worth it. It's a good episode.
It'd just be like Piles, Maxi Shot.
No.
It's literally half an hour of Jason talking about where to put fists. Up a dog. It's
to hide them.
Quite something.
I know. Exactly.
Yeah, but actually that
you made a good fist of it, Jason.
Yeah, he did. That Wolfang toy is a good example because again, the whole back of it comes off to become a shield. But I don't mind that actually on that toy.
Yeah, and the rib cage and using that as the projectiles, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's quite cool. I did like that.
That was a neat touch. Yeah.
But in comparison, the Optimus Primal, which is phenomenal, the way it hides all of the different weapons that comes out of all that, that's brilliant, right? And that's really impressive.
Yeah, but again, it was about the design of the toys at the time, and clearly what Kenner were cooking there was trying to integrate the weapons and do that kind of like weapon storage thing. And the idea was very simply that when you transform these toys in either mode or whatever it was, there would be nothing left over, on the table. That's very clearly, because even like missiles and things would store somewhere, which is next level, really. That's not normal for Transformers. Normally you have like missiles left over or something, at least, I think.
That was one of the things, actually, going back to Robot in Disguise, Optimus Prime. He had all those missiles in his ladder that would flick out on the original one, which was cool. This is like a nice gimmick as well as anything else.
Kenner made great use of like the space inside the figures to use stuff like that.
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
It's really well done. It's kind of fun because it's that kind of juxtaposition of like action figure style arms and legs, wasn't it? Like not transformery like vehicle parts, so kind of like biceps and stuff where there's suddenly room to enclose pieces that can pop out and fit in. They did it really, really well with those pieces.
They really did, and it's funny because actually, if anything, we've now gone back to an era where weapon storage is not really a thing now. I mean, if you look at like Generations toys, they don't do that. You guns and things aren't integrated. You can often plug a gun into the roof of a car, but it doesn't store away, it doesn't hide away inside as such, and I do think that is a little bit of a lost art because those Beast Wars toys did it so well.
Evo Fusion, man.
Well, yeah, I'm all for it. I think Evo Fusion's cool.
One bit into another.
Yeah.
It just looks more silly. Like I was putting some toys back on the shelf today. I picked up Legacy Skids, and then I was trying to put him on the shelf. I was like, why is he not standing there? And I turned around, like there's the blue clear energon axe things in his back, like an accessory. It's like a gun axe thing. And I was looking at it going, the hell is this? Before this, I just chucked it into the drawer like, oh, this nonsense. Evo Fusion.
Evo Fusion. I love Evo Fusion. I mean, it's just pegging stuff onto stuff, isn't it? And it's like, but you kids love that stuff. And like my son goes nuts for it. And inevitably any...
It's like Lego, but crap.
Yeah, well, yeah. No, it's good. Inevitably any of my toys that he plays with or his own that he's got, you go in and there's like... I saw Earthrise Optimus that he was playing with a couple of weeks back that had Trailbreakers. Is it Legacy Trailbreaker? The Earthrise Trailbreaker. Yeah. That had his shield thing plugged in on his arm and pipes his cannons, his little...
amazing.
And like little booster things and whatever. And he was just like all armored up. Do you know what I mean? With various other accessories. One of Sunstreaker's things. All kinds of stuff.
But it's mostly just plugging the guns into the 5mm ports that are already on most of the toys.
Yeah.
That is the play value, Liam. That's exactly
the play
it.
Pattern. Yeah, that's the play pattern.
But and you're like, Evo Fusion, you're like, but these toys have always had these ports and stuff.
No, I know.
It's when they connect them together, and sometimes you just look at it and you just laugh. But I like the idea of stuff like that, being able to plug stuff together. So
it's just plugging stuff in stuff, isn't it?
It is, yeah. That's different to parts forming, isn't it?
That's not parts forming.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think, look, I mean, maybe we draw it there and just say it depends on the individual toy. I think that's certainly my take on it all. I'm not rabidly against Partsforming. I'm not like, yeah, it's always better. Sometimes I like the all-in-one thing. It just totally depends. If the toy is not crap for either solution, then it's all good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm the same as you in that I judge it on whatever toy comes along, and if it's fun, it's great. There are moments like again moving vintage stuff about, and then being like, where's this accessory go? Where's that accessory gone? Why couldn't it just be attached like Trailbreaker's fists and stuff, launches stuff like that? And there are times when you went, I wish this was one.
That's 100%.
Yeah, and there are other times as well where I look at stuff like that and I'm like, I wish it was like a one piece thing. Just because of because of like fictionally that's how the character goes. Sometimes it comes and goes, but that's the thing of having these things for 30 something years, isn't it? Your opinions change from one way to the next.
It does, and that's okay. I mean, I'm going to hit you with a slightly controversial one. Having now, curveball. Having now owned Missing Link Sunstreaker, which obviously makes an effort to integrate the fists, but it also gives you the non-integrated fists.
Yep,
and I think it's really clever. And what that does really well is that the fists fold away into the wrist, but you can remove those articulated fists as well. Or you can flip the articulated fists inside, and then plug the non-articulated fists into the other end. So all of that setup and solution for it, I think, is superb. But it did leave me thinking that actually, I wish when they'd done Missing Link Convoy that they did the same thing, and that actually there was the option to remove the fists if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So I did. I know it's a weird one, but I was just thinking back to it, and I was like, I love Missing Link Convoy. I think if there was one thing about it I could change, it would be at least the option to remove the fist.
And is that because of the nostalgia of it? Just the nod back to...
Just purely that.
Totally.
Yeah. I would love to have the ability to plug in a non-articulated fist in the same way that you can with Sunstreaker.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I can feel that. Because with Sunstreaker, they absolutely nailed the nostalgia feels with that whilst modernizing the figure. Such an amazing...
What's that noise? What's that noise I can hear? It's a rumbling. Oh, I think it's Maz running towards us now because we're talking about Missing Link Sunstreaker. He's about to appear.
I know, totally.
Oh, exactly. Every week when we sit down to record, he's like, "You doing a Missing Link chat?" And
Missing Link Sunstreaker when?
Yeah, exactly.
I know, bless. It's good.
But it will be interesting to see what they do with Magnus, and it will also be interesting to see what they do with some further toys as well, because I don't necessarily need everything to be integrated all the time, and I think that some of the toys have the potential to like lose a little bit of the fun factor if they go too far with it. Like if they do Missing Link Seekers, which just to bring us 360 round to those guys, if they do Missing Link Seekers and it's so convoluted to like hide the fists away and you lose some of the charm of the original, I would actually rather that they just kept the Partsforming in that case. I know that's like completely counterintuitive.
No, I can understand that.
Don't ruin the toy for the sake of just being able to say it's all in one.
Yeah. I'm sure they've got it in mind, and I'm sure they've looked at Seekers already, because how could they not have done? But it's got to be something super clever to make it work, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Cannot work it out.
No.
Cannot work out what they could possibly do.
Yeah. Because they're going to do a flip out fist, it's going to look wee at the end of those kind of fins, and then you could still have the clip-on ones on top of that as well. But proportionally, that's going to look odd. But the big gloves look odd anyway, right? So
the boxing gloves.
Yeah, they absolutely.
Whatever they do, it has to look the same, though. That's the thing. It has to, even if it's integrated in some way, once it turns into the robot, it has to look identical as if it was clipped on.
I'm going to put my money down now and say I don't think they can do it. I think there's a line between what you can physically do, and I just don't think those toys. I don't think they can do it. It's the hands. Like I think you can work knee joints in there and leg joints. There's room to fudge that, but the hands are so specifically a size that cannot go anywhere else.
Kind of agree. I don't see how you could do it. I do not see how you could do it. They cannot fold away. Certainly.
Yeah, I was trying to think of like
excited to see if they can
spring-loaded, so it collapses away, but you just can't. It's physically too much material there, isn't there?
Yeah. And it goes over the end of the arm, which is visible in the jet mode.
Exactly.
The end of the arm.
So where's it going to go? absolutely.
I'm with you, Liam. I don't think it can be done.
Physically, the only place it could possibly go is inside the arms, but there's not enough space for them to do it.
They're thinner.
If you're thinking of what it's attached to, physically, there's literally no other place it could go, and that's not big enough, so it physically couldn't go. It's honestly, I really hope they do it because I just want to see how they blow our minds. But
which they consistently are doing right now. With stuff.
Yeah. Well, for another day, we'll see. Well, I think that's going to about do it for Partsformers. Thank you.
Not combiners, Partsformers.
Yes, I nearly said combiners. It's so funny because I was literally about to come in and be like, combiners? Was that what we were talking about? That's what
white polar bear.
We're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Right. It's come full circle. Yeah. Well, I can't believe Liam talked about that one combiner. That was
outrageous.
Really
I'm
bad.
disappointed in myself for.
You should be. Yeah.
Forgetting the rules.
You'll get an official reprimand in the post-recording chat. Don't worry.
Okay, make sure you send it by recorded mail.
I shall indeed. Your official sanction will be in the mail. Yeah. But we're going to park it there. But it's been fun, and would love to hear from some of you of what you think about Partsforming as well. Bad examples, good examples. There's going to be absolutely hundreds that we've not thought about tonight. But you can let us know that because we're on socials and all of that kind of stuff. Or an even better way to tell us is to get on our Patreon, because we do have a particularly fantastic Patreon, where there are 5 glorious tiers of stuff. There's all kinds of things. There's early access to episodes such as this, up to a week early, by the way. You can also get, or you've just got, if you're on our Patreon, our TF Nation 2025 video. So you can watch that as well, our panel that is now live on our Patreon. So that's very exciting. Go and check that out. And you can
I just say, I am enjoying all of your hand movements right now. Nobody can see
really,
all of your gestures.
I'm really...
He's in
for an audience that is not here.
Yeah. I'm in marketing mode.
This is why I want to start recording a little bit of it. We need this content for TikTok, right?
This is why I don't want to start recording it. So
it's good.
People can't see me flailing around like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? But
no, it's great. It's very expressive. I can tell why you're so good at public speaking.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. But what was the second? Flailing
straight away.
I'm joining that
Patreon. Yeah, there's also 2 tiers of exclusive recordings as well, including Sixo's Butler, where you can get access to fortnightly minisodes on a range of topics, and then Goldbox Classics, where you can get access to another fortnightly set of exclusive recordings on ongoing topics such as IDW, More Than Meets the Eye, all kinds of stuff.
Are they over there on the right? Are they?
They're over there on the right. They're over there on the left.
By way you're doing your hands there.
They're gesturing that way, this way.
Just off to the side of the screen.
Yeah.
Put little coloured sticks and the plane could land.
Yeah. I could be doing anything and nobody would know. I mean,
true.
We've not talked about the fact that Jason doesn't wear clothes to these recordings, have we? So we're just
that's the secret Patreon tier.
Yeah, exactly. That's for our eyes only.
J-Swings, that is.
We're going to get a load of sign-ups now. The wrong kind.
Exactly. So hench.
Exactly, that's it. Thank you.
But yes, all that aside, we do have a Patreon. And I was going to say, you can get on there and you can ask us questions on there, can't you? So you can tell us what you think of episodes and all of that, because we've got all of that on our very popping Discord. And there are now the ability to ask us questions on the Discord as well, aren't there? Which we've opened to all tiers.
Yeah, all tiers can ask. It's on the Pod Questions channel as well. So we're going to dive straight in. And this is from Matt, who we saw at TFN Manchester, and Big TFN as well. What do you see the future of the pod being, such as best case scenario in where you want it to go?
Oof.
So I'll dive straight in that I would love to take the podcast live international. I think that'd be quite fun. I think it'd be lovely to go and meet some of our international patrons and Transformers fans out there. I think that'd be really fun. I really enjoy the TFN lives that we do.
Oh, you're talking about in person. I was going to say, that the podcast is international.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Right? I meant in person.
On the internet.
In person. I love meeting people.
I would like to take it to the colonies.
God.
Oh no. That is very much the opposite of what I meant.
So you want to do a world tour? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, let's do a triple takeover tour. That's what we could do, right?
We really are going to set ourselves up as like bloody the Top Gear of Transformers then, aren't we? With like going on some international thing.
But you know what? Hasbro, if you're listening, give us a call, right?
We'd have to be stood there somewhere going, that could have been us. But it's not.
Yeah.
The classic gif.
Classic, exactly.
Oh dear.
Sixo, what about you? Where would you like the pod to go?
I don't know, really. I'm pretty happy with where it's going. I think I'd like to get some more guests on it. It's been a while since we've had a little spate of guests. It's just that is quite an organizational process in itself. So absolutely. We've sort of taken we've put that not on the back seat, but I think it's just been a question of like we've been a bit head down in doing what we're doing for the time being. So we've got to get back to organizing some guests. That, for me, is the really big part. And I'd just love to see it continue to grow. I think we've had a really good reception so far in the years now that we've been doing this. And that, to me, is sort of there. It's funny because I'm feeling very much like what we were in our pre-show chat. Liam came in whilst Jason and I were chatting. And you said, Liam, about Jason's sort of boundless ambition of like... just saying something.
Over the world.
Yeah, exactly. Just saying something and being like, we could do this. And it's like, could we?
Yeah. It's self-perpetuating that attitude because then you think, I can do this. And then you do this and then it keeps going. And then you get, it's a very, I thank you to my parents for encouraging me so much with my
it's
absolutely
good.
Crazy dreams.
In my case, I go, I could do this. And then I sit down and play on the PlayStation instead.
Yeah. But if you said I could play the PlayStation,
What's your ambition then, Liam?
Yeah, what's yours, Liam?
Mine? Well, man, it's been such a great ride. We've done so many amazing things and it just keeps growing and I love it. But for me, the one thing I would be really happy about is when we've reached a place where we can finally get Jet from Gladiators to come on.
Okay, let's make that happen.
Whoa.
That's a great idea.
There we go.
Yes.
Someday. That's my ambition.
Okay.
We're going to have to talk about
mistress.
Gladiators a lot more than we already do, perhaps, in order to make that happen.
This will be the pinnacle.
Could line this up for it's a while away. We've got time to plan for this. Line up for your 50th treat there, Liam. That's what we could do. Right?
Actually, I'll give you one.
Mine's after Sixo, so that's a long time.
Exactly.
Yeah. So much after as well. Like so different.
A whole year.
It'd be like a Blade Runner future when it's mine compared to Sixo's, which is like a fortnight, isn't it? Or something.
Jason, not a whole year. Months. Not a whole year.
I know.
Mere months. Mere months of difference.
I'm aware.
I'm going to throw one out for you. If we're talking like who we'd love to get on the pod, I would love... We talked about this one recently, but we've made no effort to look into it. But,
Jet from Gladiators.
No, actually, I wasn't going to say Jet from Gladiators. I was going to say...
Louise off Eternal.
You're just listing all the girls you fancied when you were a teenager.
Yeah, in 1995.
Yeah. All his teenage crushes that he's still got posters of in his bedroom, probably.
Yeah, exactly.
You can see those, can you?
Yeah. Is that your bedroom? I don't think so. Anyway, I was going to say Craig Charles because I gather that he's...
You had a crush on him?
I did, yeah, exactly. Very good.
Crush, yeah.
But I gather that he's quite a Transformers fan. And he's been on DVD, hasn't he, talking about Transformers?
It was on the BBC show.
That was it.
Like in the end of the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
Our old pal Graham
was on there,
that episode.
Oh, that's right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
You should go check out his fanzine, the TF UK guide.
TF UK guide, yeah. Does amazing work, Graham. He's such a lovely guy as well.
He is the loveliest man.
Really nice guy. But yeah, so Craig Charles, I think, would be... That would be just...
That's a good idea.
Love Craig Charles in Red Dwarf and everything anyway, so that would just be so... amazing.
Or, hear me out, V1 Kachansky from Red Dwarf.
Oh, yeah.
What, the first Kachansky or the second?
Yeah, the real one.
The
original, the OG.
Yeah.
Scottish Kachansky.
Claire Grogan.
Skachansky. Yeah.
Scott Kachansky.
Yeah. I can't believe we didn't
Happy
think
birthday
of this,
and all that.
Because this is perfect, and this is what we need to do. We need to do We need to get Michael Bay on and talk about Revenge of the Fallen with Liam.
You haven't even seen it, have you?
I know, I've never seen it either. So
good.
Anyway, thanks, Matt. That was a good question. I love that. Loads of ideas.
Jason's trying to torture me now.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jason.
Mick Bay on the old podcast. My
I
God.
know. Amazing, isn't it? It would be awful, actually.
Is that one of Jason's relatives, McBay?
McBay.
McBay. McBay. Hamish McBay.
McBay.
He's a fisherman.
There can be only one. Or 7 movies.
So our next question is from Rotastorm Sam, and he asks, being a customizer, I've bought all sorts of colour schemes to life. No, he means brought. Sorry, Rotastorm Sam. I just read that wrong. I'm the grammar police, spelling police. Anyway, start again. Being a customizer, I've brought all sorts of colour schemes to life. Are there any colour schemes that seemed obvious that never happened and you would have liked to have seen? Bonus question,
yes.
Would you like some toast? Yeah, I would love some toast.
There we go. Would
No
anybody like any toast?
Smegging toast.
Wow. What a perfect time. That was amazing.
That was incredible. Oh my God.
Would anybody like any toast?
That's a really good impression.
Definitely.
What about a
hot cross
crumpet?
buns.
So what you're saying?
It's like we set it up.
Exactly. What's the question? So, are there colour schemes that never happened that you'd like to see happen?
Yeah, colour schemes that seemed obvious that have never happened. Did you like to see?
Yeah, I actually did an article about this literally like last week. Funnily enough, on
so you've got a list of you.
Yeah, on the old TF Source blog. Let me pull it up and I'll just read it out to you.
Or you could just give the URL.
Is it in 3 parts?
It's not in 3 parts. It's 1 part. But I might come back to it. We'll see. But actually, I think one example I would think of is the Action Master Bruticus, because so I did put this in the article. That one is in the article, but it's they did the Action Master Elites back in 1991, and of course we got Turbo Master, no relation to the Turbo Masters, but he was just called Turbo Space Master, and he was like a pink Bruticus, basically. Like the toy is very clearly meant to be modelled after Bruticus, most notably the face sculpt and whatever, but there's a few other cues in the design as well on the chest and things like this. And it's super cool toy, even though the alt mode is a bit naff. But there was some released images, because BotCon at one point, no, it wasn't even for BotCon, it was for the figure collection, figure subscription service, the TFSS acronym. It was for the subscription service.
Good job they got rid of that.
Yeah,
Terrible
exactly.
acronym.
Yeah. It's not the best acronym, but they were going to do that. They had an idea to recolor Turbo Master back into Bruticus, if you like. So, and if you've not seen it, I've shared the image with credit on the blog, but it looks amazing, honestly. And to me, it's one of those where obviously I got the birthday present from many of our lovely friends some years ago. For my 39th birthday, actually, by the way, I remember.
You did?
Yeah, and it was a little custom G1 Black Zarek out of the Action Master Elite Double Punch, because cool. Again, that's what it was modelled after.
That was such a amazing time seeing that come together as it did.
Absolutely incredible piece of work by Matt from Rock Lords Rock, who we often talk about.
Kit did the box.
Kit did the incredible box. Like, absolutely. I've obviously still got it. It's up there, but absolutely amazing piece of work. Absolutely love it.
Just on the Bruticus, is it Paul or Raz? I think it's one of them was saying at TF Nation that either they've got the prototype or they've seen it, and it had Bruticus written on the back.
Really? Is that true?
Yeah, I can't remember who it was. Yeah, one of them was saying, I can't remember if they've got it or they've seen it, but they had Bruticus scribbled on the back.
I mean, it's quite clearly what they were trying to do with those toys, because one is Bruticus, very obviously, one is Black Zarek, the other one is obviously Omega Supreme, called Omega Supreme, and then there's the fourth one, Windmill, which doesn't really look like anything, that's by the by, but it's sort of breaks the theme
Ironworks.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
But so it's obviously what they were going for, but that is interesting to hear that maybe they would have considered the name Bruticus for it, but didn't do it for whatever reason. So. Yeah. But yeah, that would be mine.
That's very good. Liam, what about you? What would you like to see?
Mine's the obvious one. We've talked about it before, but it's any single one of the movie primes as Rhino from Mask.
Oh, yeah.
I can't fathom why they have never done it. Like, it's right there. It's so perfect.
It is right there.
It didn't even have... It's not even really red Rhino. It's this almost burgundy purpley color, and on the box art is always magenta because one of the prototypes for it was magenta, and one of the radios was magenta, like the magenta Rhino or just any version of Rhino. It's there. It's Optimus Prime's long. It could redeem that whole movie Optimus Prime look.
All of that nonsense.
All of that
but
nonsense.
Just
gone.
Imagine that movie if instead of this stupid Guy Fieri shirt flame nonsense that is rocking, it just looks like Rhino. Like, how fucking cool would that have looked? Right? Really,
it would look good.
Have looked wicked, wouldn't it?
It would have looked really cool. It would have looked really cool.
But teenage boys like flames on vehicles. So, and Michael Bay is a teenage boy, so that's why we got
those. Are called pyromaniacs, Jason.
They are. That's very true.
One thing I love about having Liam on the podcast is that he's never afraid to unearth some of the age-old fandom recriminations, is he? So, like, beasts are bad, flames on Optimus is bad. All of these like really long-standing. Yeah, exactly. These really long-standing
Keeping
beefs.
It straight. This is good,
We've lived this life.
Yeah, it's really bringing back the classics, aren't you? With those ones,
they run deep.
Yeah,
truck not monkey.
Exactly. I was waiting.
That's it.
Brilliant. I was waiting.
Yeah, there you go. What about an Optimus Prime deco? There's Optimus Primal or a Primal decorate. Well, I suppose we almost got that.
We kind of got
had red, but it's never quite that. But
not done it justice.
Because we've had black Optimus Primes, but that black, red, grey, blue.
Like an Optimus Prime toy modelled after Optimus Primal specifically.
Yeah, it's a colour. Yeah, use those colours over the truck.
You wouldn't have to flock it or anything.
Well, again, that's what
give it a mutant mask.
Yeah. Come on then, Jace. What's yours?
I'm kind of struggling considering I've always thought about doing. I'm going to give a shout out to our friend Sid, Dia Brave, who is doing some amazing custom work all the time at the moment, and this stuff's beautiful. It's really nice, but I think for me, like those all the conversation we've been having around the catalogs and those mock-ups and the painted versions of toys that never were, So those versions, they're the ones that I'm always really interested in. And just I've always wanted to get a really knackered version. Same thing that Sid's doing, right? But get a knackered version of the toy and then paint it up to look like that as well. But funnily enough, I'm getting the hit of this from the stuff that Matt's doing. So like the recent bumper that I got in that kind of magenta color and things like that. So it's quite nice. So yeah, there's nothing. The only thing I really thought about it was a chromed masterpiece. Like a silver streak, like we had chrome streak on the G1 line for eHobby and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I really love a chromed robot. I just think it looks cool as well.
Old fingerprint Magneto.
Well, exactly. That's it. But there's something just really nice and kind of futuristic. I did think, if I wanted to see, we talked about this before, but if we wanted to see a crossover, but a Cylon that is also turns into a Cylon ship would be my kind of amaze. Yeah.
You got it in a whole different direction here now.
Yeah, God. That's just because Cylons were
question?
so shiny.
Yeah, just a question.
So to know.
I know. Getting everything in there. So yeah, basically, I didn't have an answer for that, Sam. Sorry.
There you go. Jason did not answer your question. He just talked about some other stuff instead. Cylons and
Cylons and other things.
Huge shout out to Sam because some of his customs, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever saw the pyro he used to do. Always wanted one. It looked amazing. And did you see at TFN he had the farmer from the Trigger Happy?
I did see. Yes,
it
looked really cool.
It's stunning. Absolutely stunning. Like that is the toy, man. Come on, Hasbro. It's right in front of you. Just get your paintball gun and shoot white paint on over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Come on, Hasbro.
Manufacturing 101. Yeah.
Exactly. Good stuff. Right, we're going to say thank you to Roadstorm Sam and Matt for those 2 wonderful questions. I appreciate it. Thank you. Add more, please, patrons.
Just the 2 questions tonight?
Just tonight, 2 questions.
Oh, you're limiting us. Look at that. I thought we might go for a third.
Spicing up. You know what? It's because the next one's is a bit of a juicy one, so we'll do that a future episode as well.
You don't have to do them in order. Just pick them at random. No. Just pick them at random. Go nuts.
I really do. I've got a plan.
Oh, do you? Oh, Jason's plans. My God.
This is the one channel I can control.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Well, Jason's mailbag is, I think, quite full. cool, isn't it? You had a little rifle around, but your mailbag was looking a bit full there when I saw it. So, but we will get around to those. And as I say, we have extended this. So actually now all tiers of patrons can ask questions. And all tiers can get on the Discord. So that's pretty cool. But all tiers can ask questions as well. So if you do want to ask a question, you could just sign up for £1 a month and get on our Discord and ask us whatever you like, really. As long as it's vaguely podcast related, we might answer it. Fair to say.
All tiers, no fears.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Is that the tagline?
I am policing this channel.
Yeah.
You know.
Everybody wants to rule the world. That's like me. And if you come and join our Patreon, we have a new little channel, the Liam Sports Bar.
Oh, God.
Oh, we do, don't we?
It's fantastic because either Jason and Sixo nor Maz, not a single one of them has been in it. It's just me. Oh no, I think Maz has been in it. It's just me. It's my own little fiefdom in the little corner of the Discord.
There's me in the pod questions, organising it, and there's you over in the sports bar.
Lots of chat about wrestling, football.
I assumed you were just talking about me the whole time. You just wanted a space where you knew I wouldn't go.
No, we've got sign up. No Sixos allowed.
Sounds about right. I think you're just devaluing the place personally. But,
that's all it is. We know you won't dare venture in if it's a sports bar. So it's just where everybody goes to unwind, take a load off, and bitch about Sixo.
I knew it. God,
screw that guy.
Yeah, what a twat
with his 3-piece articles on it.
Yeah, is that why you make that joke repeatedly?
Yeah, I dine out on it every day.
I know you do. You love that joke. Anyway, slightly founded in reality. I appreciate it might be. Yes. But yeah, you can get all of that at patreon.com/Triple Takeover, Discord, all of it, and loads of exclusive recordings. I mean, my God, we've got I think it's well over 175, probably coming up on up to 200 exclusive recordings before too long. Do you know what I mean? We're over 100 minisodes now, and last time I'd counted, we were at 80 mini-series recordings. So
there's the TFN ones as well, like the TFN shows.
Yeah, that's true. Lost episode, Titans Return, episode. So
check that bad boy out.
Yeah. So actually, although we're saying that this is episode 112, technically we have done, this is episode 113 in terms of actual numbers, because there is a whole other episode that we did that's on the Patreon as well. So there's loads. There probably is over 200 exclusive recordings, not to mention the Discord and all the other stuff and the questions and blah, 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 blah. So there's lots on there.
And Maz's exclusive return with his miniseries.
Yeah, we got Maz back, maybe. And he might be coming back again soon. Maybe. I heard a rumbling.
That's him running again to talk about missing links on Shrieker.
The rumbling was Maz, just rumbling away, coming back. But yes, we'll have to see. But yeah, all of that, patreon.com/Triple Takeover. And you should also go and check out our sponsor for the evening. That is tfsource.com. So you can go and check them out for all your Transformers needs. We'll talk more about them next time, but they've got tons of stuff in stock and available for pre-order right now. So go and look at that at tfsource.com.
And if you want to let us know what you thought of this episode and what you think of Partsforming, whether you're for it, against it, on the fence, like Sixo usually is.
Oh, yeah. Firmly rooted.
There we go. Old fence sitting Sixo.
Absolutely.
Come and head over to our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We're there now, apparently. It's a Discovered Live on Stage. I didn't realise that was a genuine thing that exists. It's a TikTok.
Yeah.
Facebook. Hit us up on all the social medias and check out our Redbubble, all that fun stuff. Go and buy some tat.
Yeah, please do. That would be lovely. We love it when you buy our tat. Although it keeps getting taken down by Hasbro. We had something else taken down the other day.
Hasbro. We love you guys. Stop bullying us.
More like Hasblo, am I right?
No!
Yeah?
They're sponsoring the world tour.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. No, we love them. We do.
Then they're not our bros anymore.
Yeah.
Hasbro.
Well, Hasbro, you're my bro, right? And, I can't do this solo. No, that's not going to work. A lot of silence.
But yeah, do get on the old socials and tell us what you think and all of that. And otherwise, I think we'll catch you for the next episode.
Can you hear me? Oh, no, of course not. I haven't engaged your verbal systems.
Right then. Crichton, what are you doing, man?
I've just repaired the toaster, sir. Well, I've nearly repaired the toaster.
Oh, no, man, dismantle him. You don't know what a little bleeder's like.
Well, I've read all the documentation, sir. He's simply a talking alarm clock who provides his owner with early morning toast and light conversation.
Not this one. This one's mental.
Sir?
He's defective. He wants everyone to eat toast all of the time. He's obsessed with it. And if you don't want to eat like 400 rounds of toast every hour, he throws a major wobbler. That's what caused the accident in the first place.
What accident?
The accident involving me, the toaster, the waste disposal, and a 14-pound lump hammer.
That explains why he was down in the garbage hole in 3,000 separate pieces.
And another thing is, he always says, howdy-doodly-do. Drives you spare. I mean, what the smeg does howdly-doodly-do mean?
Yes, well, just trust me, sir. My motives will become clear.
Howdy doodly do. How's it going? I'm Talkie. Talkie Toaster, your chirpy breakfast companion. Talkie's the name, toasting's the game. Anyone like any toast?
Look, I don't want any toast, and he doesn't want any toast. In fact, no one around here wants any toast. Not now, not ever. No toast.
How about a muffin?
Or muffins. We don't like muffins round here. We want no muffins, no toast, no tea cakes, no buns, baps, baguettes or bagels, no croissants, no crumpets, no pancakes, no potato cakes, and no hot cross buns, and definitely no smeg and flapjacks.
Ah, so you're a waffle man.